Adrian Amos will join us to tell us how they plan to do that. In Tampa, Rob Gronkowski telling us why he and Tom Brady have been out of sync this postseason, a rare occurrence for one of the most prolific connections in postseason history. And in Buffalo, the Bills summoning the ghosts of Seinfeld and Mrs. Doubtfire, all quite popular the last time they were a Super Bowl team back in 1994. More popular this week, the formula to foil the Chiefs offense and how it's different from Week 6. And the question in Kansas City remains, will Patrick Mahomes play? Limited participation for a second straight day. So let's start this edition of NFL Total Access by getting an answer, or trying to at least, from our NFL Network insider, Ian Rappaport. Ian, what's the latest on Patrick Mahomes' status?
Well, things are moving in the right direction for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And the reason we know that is because he practiced today. Yes, he practiced on a limited basis, just like yesterday. But being out on the field, taking most of the snaps, if not all of the snaps, is a good sign that, one, he did not have a setback yesterday after practicing. That is good. And two, that he is progressing in the normal, productive way in the NFL's concussion protocol. The hope, of course, tomorrow is that he practices fully. If he is a full participant in practice tomorrow, that means he is likely on his way to being cleared before Sunday. If he's not able to practice fully tomorrow, then perhaps Mahomes might not be ready in time. Remember, this is not something that's decided by the team or by the player or even by their doctors. An independent neurologist makes the final call on Patrick Mahomes actually playing on Sunday. But again, this is one that is headed in the right direction.
Ian, thanks very much there for that status update. Ian will be back with us here in just a little bit as the Eagles head coaching search seems to be coming to a conclusion. Thanks very much, Ian, as we say hello now for the first time. As promised, the Hall of Famer Terrell Davis, Andrew Hawkins. Guys, let's take a look here at this rematch for the Bills and the Chiefs. Rematch of a Week 6 win by the Chiefs, a 9-point victory, TD, in which the Bills' game plan seemed to dare the Chiefs to run the football. They took that dare, rushing for over 200 yards in that game. How do you think the Bills' defense should alter their game plan this week?
Well, that game, Matt Milano, their middle linebacker, missed that game, so he'll be in this one. So that's a plus for them. And I think if you're Leslie Frazier, the defensive coordinator, you have a situation on your hands. Do you try to play the back end and try to pressure up front and then try to, do some man coverage and hopefully Patrick Mahomes makes a mistake? You can try that route, but here's what I think he should do. Do what you did the first time, but I think this time you guys you got to have guys making tackles up front, because it's almost like pick your poison. If you try to shut down the run, they'll throw the ball. If you try to shut down the pass, they'll run it. So with me is looking at what's happening. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's questionable in this game. He's in practice limited right now, and so I think they feel like if they can get out on this field, tackle, make some plays as a defense, and not let the ball get over their heads, that might be the best game plan for Leslie Frazier in that defense. But I don't think they should change too much, because whatever you try to do, the Chiefs will adjust. This team is 24-2 in their last 26 games. So they're not just a team that it's easy to say this is what you should do and then go out there on the field and do it. They are a hard out, and the Bills have found that out in Week 6.
I love it, TD. I'm going to go on the defense as well, because when you're facing the Chiefs, you got to go defense. You got to stop Patrick Mahomes, and I think you're spot on with their original strategy. What they did was they hung two safeties back deep and dared the Chiefs to run the football, and the Chiefs did just that. So they have to be more aggressive but not risky. I also think you don't want to blitz Patrick Mahomes. You want to try to rush him with 4, hoping you can put pressure in there, keep him in the pocket, because once he gets out of the pocket, he actually makes those momentum throws and he gets better. So it is a mix and a balance, but you have to stay aggressive, but you can't be too risky. It's like you're trying to thread the needle, but that is the case going against this Chiefs offense. To your point, it's one of the best that we've ever seen. So essentially, do what you did in Week 6, just do it better. That's the plan. It's that easy. It's that simple. It would certainly help having Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 161 yards in that game, TD, 161 of the 245 the Chiefs put up on the ground against Buffalo. But as TD mentioned, limited in practice all week was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, one of a number of Chiefs limited today. Patrick Mahomes, obviously a big one as well. And check out Bashaud Breeland with Stephon Diggs coming to town. His concussion and shoulder injury could play a big role there as well. And in the NFC, Antonio Brown has not practiced all week with a knee injury, but Bruce Arians says
he doesn't have to practice at all to play on Sunday. As we give you a look now in Tampa, where Rob Gronkowski and the Bucs prepare for round 2 versus the Packers. Arguably Gronk's best game of the season back in week 6. Certainly less impactful last week against New Orleans. Just 1 catch on 5 targets from Tom Brady, and it's becoming clear to the Bucs tight end he needs more of the TB12 plan in his life.
He told me I was running too slow, so that's why the ball was overthrown, and I told him that, you know, he's just got to stop working out because his arm's just too strong and he can't read my speed. So that's what was the conversation was. But if we're being for real, like those are plays that, you know, that him and I got to connect on. We got to connect on those plays. We got to connect from here on out. There's no like, oh, next game we'll connect. Oh, we got, you know, oh, the next game we got next practice. No, it's go time now. It's you win or you lose. You win or you go home.
I think playing on the road is it's about good football execution, communication, all the fundamentals, the blocking, tackling, throwing, all those things. So it's a great environment. I mean, this is one of the coolest stadiums in the league to play in. And, you know, I know they're excited. We'll be excited. It'll make for a great football game.
All right, words there from Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski saying hello again to Hawk and Scott Pioli joining us as promised, as we mentioned here. And now let's get the keys to victory, essentially a point counterpoint in this game here for the Bucs and the Packers. So Scott, let's start here with how the Bucs can beat the Packers again.
The first thing that the Buccaneers need to do is they need to find a way to get pressure and contact on Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers was sacked and hit the second fewest times in the entire National Football League this year. So last week, the Rams, who had arguably the best defensive front in the NFL, never got to him. So this week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to go back to what they did in week 6, which was apply a lot of pressure. They had 54% of the snaps in drop back pass. They got to Tom Brady, made some things happen. 29% of those snaps, they actually hit Tom Brady. So this week, that's the first thing they got to do. The second thing that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to do is Tom Brady needs to channel his inner New England Patriot. Tom Brady in games, in AFC Championship games, in freezing weather or colder, is 4-0. So now, Tom Brady needs to go back and channel his inner Patriot.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with all of that. But I'm going to add one that you forgot, Scott, and that's they have to cure the success hangover. This is a Buccaneers team that just beat a divisional opponent. They lost to twice in the regular season. You have to get over that. That's a big win for this franchise and organization, and some of these players have never been a part of a win this way. Now, we know Tom Brady gets it, and he understands it's a 24-hour rule, and you're moved on. But for everybody else, none of that success carries over. You can't bask in the glory. You can't take this to Lambeau, because I can promise you Aaron Rodgers and the Packers don't give a damn about what happened 6 days ago.
Yeah, you better believe it, as the Bucs sit here and try to be the first team to play a home Super Bowl, of course, in Raymond James Stadium, home of Super Bowl 55. But for the Packers now, Scott Pioli, how do they avenge that Week 6 loss and get past the Bucs?
Right, the first thing that they have to do is establish the running game early. The Green Bay Packers' entire offense is predicated on the run and having success in the run. Matt LaFleur, their head coach, comes from the Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan school of running the football and then doing everything off of that. Last week, as a matter of fact, their first 9 plays, 7 of them were runs. And in order for them to do what they need to do in the passing game, they need to establish the run and then build off the play action game. Aaron Rodgers being able to move and work off the play action is ideal for the Green Bay Packers. Then I think that the second thing that the Green Bay Packers need to do is they need to get pressure on Tom Brady. They need to hit Tom Brady, because in the Week 6 game, again, I know it's a completely different week, but they did not sack Tom Brady once. The biggest problem that Tom Brady has during a game is when he's hit too often. As a matter of fact, in 2 games this year, when he was hit 8 or more times, Brady lost both of those games. So again, the Pack need to establish the running game and get to Tom Brady.
Scott, you're a genius. I see why you were executive of the year. You were spot on. They have to run the football. This offense, I played in it. You've seen McVay run it. We've seen Shanahan run it. It's not a passing offense like people think, even though the numbers are great. It is a running offense. The run sets up everything, and not even just because you want to have a good run game. It is so strategic. I would go into games, and I could almost pinpoint the exact amount of catches, the exact amount of yards, and when I was going to make those catches in the game because of that strategy. So for the Packers, they have to run the football to set up everything else. It's not, again, that this is a passing offense. It's that this offense and this passing game is efficient if you establish the run first.
Certainly works for the quarterbacks, as we saw an MVP for Matt Ryan in a Matt LaFleur type of offense with Kyle Shanahan there in Atlanta. And then also we would expect Aaron Rodgers to get another MVP this year. Okay, Scott Pioli, hang tight. Going to be back with you here in just a second. We had 3 coaches introduced today as new head coaches. Another head coaching vacancy is on the verge of being filled. Colts offensive coordinator Nick Sirianni is expected to be the new head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, 3 years in Indy, with Frank Reich now taking over for Doug Peterson, who was let go after 5 seasons as the Eagles' leading man. And with that, now we welcome back our NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. Scott Pioli here with us as well. And Ian, why is Sirianni the choice for Philly?
Well, one of the most important things the Philadelphia Eagles were looking at was who can fix the quarterback position, how to get this offense, which was so disjointed so much of the year, how to get it going in the right direction. And the Philadelphia Eagles had really an exhaustive coaching search after not even knowing they were going to have a coaching search until probably a couple days after the season ended. They interviewed old coaches, younger coaches, offensive coaches, defensive coaches, all sorts of different backgrounds. But what it seemed like is that owner Jeffrey Lurie specifically wanted an offensive coach who could help make Carson Wentz again. And we've spent so much time talking about where Carson Wentz is going to get dealt this offseason. Is he going to go to Indianapolis with Frank Reich? Instead, what the Eagles did was they brought Indianapolis to Philly. They hired Frank Reich's right-hand man, Nick Sirianni, the offensive coordinator for the last couple of years. He has impressed during games, although, of course, he does not call plays. He's a bright young coach who they believe is going to get not just the organization going in the right direction, but Carson Wentz going in the right direction as well.
Ian, I agree with everything that you're saying. You know, I had the good fortune to be with Nick Sirianni when Todd Haley brought him into the National Football League in 2009. Nick was working at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Todd Haley brought him to the NFL as a quality control coach, and all the things that you mentioned that you believe the Eagles are looking for, I agree. He is a tireless worker. He's an offensive mind. He's got incredible energy, and he's all about accountability. Those things I think are very important to the Eagles at this point in time from what I've heard. And Ian, I think you nailed it. And Nick Sirianni, I believe, has a chance to be a very, very good football coach in the National Football League.
Well, and Eagles fans should feel pretty good about the fact that Phillip Rivers threw 9 fewer interceptions this year in his first and only season with Sirianni than the year before, especially seeing as how Carson Wentz tied for the league lead in interceptions this season with 15. Guys, thanks very much. Appreciate that. More to come here as we continue on NFL Total Access. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs rule the day on offense in the NFL. A couple of prolific connections with Tyreek Hill, with Travis Kelce. Is it possible, though, that the second best...
Can you keep that camera on me today? Yeah.
Well, no big deal. There you go. I mean, it's no Laramie, Wyoming.
No, not at all. You ever been up there?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go, man. Let's just get it started, baby.
Lamar Jackson back to throw. Pocket collapsing. He's going to be dropped. He is set. Right at midfield. He is dropped by Quentin Jefferson.
They're going to run a sprint action option. Touchdown, Kansas City.
He's applying pressure. They got too much.
Great job, man. Great job. Yeah. Listen, I told you, get the camera on me, dog. That game ended when they needed me the most. That's what they paid me, dog.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill, among the most explosive players we will see on Championship Sunday. Rhett Lewis back here with Andrew Hawkins on NFL Total Access. We're going to look for a couple of more of those, in fact, as we assess the top 4 quarterback pass catcher duos on Championship Sunday. So, Hawk, do us a favor, take us from 4 to 1.
I love it. Thank you, Red. It was my pleasure to do so. We'll start with number 4. We're going with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. Reason being, when you mix this kind of arm talent with that kind of speed, fireworks fly. We haven't seen this kind of arm talent and speed probably since Brady and Randy Moss. So obviously that's going to be tough to stop. Now, if you're watching this and you say, yo, that's the number one quarterback pass catcher duo.
Yes.
I won't argue. This is legit. We got Mahomes, we got Tyreek Hill. All right, number 3, we have Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. Listen, Davante Adams has been on this quest to be the number 1 receiver since he's come into the league. We watched him last week have a really good game against Jalen Ramsey, who shut down every top receiver we've seen. Mix that with Aaron Rodgers' season and watching his body of work and the MVP caliber play he's done, you got to keep him in the top 4. All right, now we're going to number 2. We have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. That's right, Stephon Diggs was receiver number 1 this season in every statistical category. He is a guy that I felt his entire career has been the most underrated receiver in the league, but not anymore. He's went up against teams knew he was the guy to stop, and they still couldn't do it. And not only that, he turned Josh Allen into a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. All right, the number 1 quarterback pass catcher duo for the championship weekend to me is Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is a matchup nightmare. He is big, he is fast, he can do it versus man-to-man, he understands the defense so he can beat you in zone. And again, Patrick Mahomes with that kind of arm talent mixed in with the kind of ability that Travis Kelce has, unstoppable. Kelce is on pace to break every tight end record for the most yards in a season. Last time they played the Bills, they actually played him pretty decent, and he still went for 65 yards and 2 touchdowns. So they are the X factor this championship weekend because honestly, I don't know how you can stop the guy.
Good news is you're on the right track here. Last 9 weeks, 3 of your 4 guys, Hill, Diggs, and Kelce, all averaging over 100 yards a game receiving and have at least 7 touchdowns. But noticeably absent here, Tom Brady and anyone. And he's got, take your pick of the talented targets, but you left them all out. Why?
Well, it's like Pioli says. Tom Brady's number 1 receiver, his favorite guy to throw to, is the open guy. There is no duo matchup for Tom Brady. That's why he's the best quarterback of all time. He throws to the guy that's open, which means if you take Mike Evans away, you take Godwin away, you take Antonio Brown, or you take Gronk away, he will find the open guy if he's out there. And that's why that duo is not on my list of 4.
Well, one area of the field where we can pinpoint the guy he's likely to throw to, down in the red zone, where Mike Evans, inside the 10, has 9 receptions. All 9 have gone for touchdowns. A phenomenal red zone target. Speaking of the Bucs, cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting helping the Bucs get a win, thanks in part to his textbook head-out, shoulder-in tackle for a loss on Josh Hill here, making him our way to play winner of divisional weekend. Congrats to Sean Murphy-Bunting. And speaking of the Bucs former Bucs star Gerald McCoy joining Brian Billick and Michael Robinson in the latest episode of the Total Access The Locker Room podcast. That's tomorrow morning on Apple, Spotify, and all your favorite places to find podcasts. New episodes drop every Wednesday and Friday. Remember to like and subscribe. McCoy in this episode enlightens the guys on special privileges for veterans.
This week on Total Access, The Locker Room.
Coach, you understand when you a vet, you get special privileges. Well, my special privileges in Tampa is I had 3 lockers. Oh. And I called it a 3-bedroom apartment. So I had my main locker, and then I had my cleats over here, and then I had this locker for whatever. So whenever a new guy would come in, they'd say, hey, Gerald, we probably need to use one of your bedrooms. I'm like, yeah, all right. How do I mess with this guy? They already have to take the locker. Okay, how can I give him a hard time? And
it was already on your mind.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm going to make him pay for this. And then I said, there it is. I'm going to tell him he has to pay me rent.
Oh, no. Scan the QR code on the screen right now for the latest episode of Total Access, The Locker Room. Like us and subscribe. New episodes every Wednesday and Friday on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
And tomorrow on NFL Total Access, we're going to make that weekly transition from what should happen and what could happen to what will happen. It's your official Championship Sunday viewers guide with game picks, score predictions, stat projections, and at least one upset alert starting at 7 p.m. Eastern on Friday. But first, coming up next on this hour of NFL Total Access, true or false, the Chiefs defense is about to get exposed, and Aaron Rodgers is about to get outplayed? The answers are next.
Good job, let's win. If it's by 1, it's by 100, man. That's all that matters, huh? Great day to be great. Win on 3, 1, 2, 3, win! Let's go! Go up there, play together, play fast, play our football, and dominate.
Doesn't matter how it looks. It only matters if we get this done.
Are you loose and ready to go, though? Yeah, ready to go.
They're going to run a sprint action option. Touchdown, Kansas City!
I was trying to figure out how to just sneak that down. I know.
Whatever you see, man, I got complete confidence, man. I got you.
Bootlegs right, pump fakes once and again, takes it himself to the end zone. He's in there.
Get in there, come on!
Hey, bro.
Good playing, bro.
Too bad playing.
Love you, man. You too. Yeah, good on you, man. We'll be in touch. Let's go! Way to go. Good job, man. Good job, man.
Hey, let's keep the Championship Sunday quarterback theme rolling here as we play a little Champ Sunday true or false game with TD and Hawk. So let's start with the experienced duo of quarterbacks that are going to meet at Lambeau Field with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. They've met 3 times before in their careers, but this will be the first time, TD, that they meet in the playoffs. So here's your statement. Tom Brady will outduel Aaron Rodgers on Sunday. True or false?
That's false all day long there. And the reason I say that, you're talking about Aaron Rodgers, a guy who has a big chip on his shoulder since week 1, actually since the draft. And Tom Brady, obviously, he's the greatest quarterback to ever play. But I think right now that Aaron Rodgers has this moment in his mind. He's been waiting for this moment to go out there to show the world that he is the best quarterback that's still standing right now. So I'm saying right now, Aaron Rodgers is playing lights out. He's this year's MVP. That will not happen. Aaron Rodgers will outduel Tom Brady.
Yeah, I hate to agree with TD, but he's right. I'm going false here. This Buccaneers defense has had trouble with these methodical dink and dunk offenses, and that's what this is. They'll run the football, they take what the defense gives them from Aaron Rodgers, and then they hit them with the big play. And the Buccaneers have struggled against that this year, against Teddy Bridgewater, Jared Goff, Drew Brees when they played him. So I think we're going to see that from Aaron Rodgers. He's going to have a really big day.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, but I think this could happen. Tom Brady could outduel Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers still win the game on the strength of the Packers running game that put up nearly 200 yards a week ago. So, look, it's just one of those things that could happen. Brady could throw for 400, TD.
I think it might be the other way around. I think Aaron Rodgers will outdo Tom Brady and still lose that game. That's what you meant to say.
Okay,
that's what you meant to say.
That's an interesting alternative there, TD. But let's stick with the ground game here as we move to our second statement, which is, Hawk, there will not be a 100-yard rusher on Championship Sunday at all. True or false?
It's true. We have the 4 best quarterbacks passing games from the season left in the season. So they're going to go off. We got Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. These are MVP caliber passing games and quarterbacks. We're going to see that on full display this weekend. I just don't see where a running back fits into that, TD.
I see it twice, and I think that statement is false because you look at the Bucs offense. Last week, Ronald Jones, I know he's dealing with the injury, a quad right now, but the Bucs offense, if they have any chance to take down the Packers, they have to run the football. And you talked about it. That offense they're in, it's a run-heavy offense. So that's one. And I think with the Chiefs, the first time they played the Bills, they ran for 241 yards. Clyde Elaire had 161 of those yards. And I think that might be the same type of game plan that happens this week. So there could be 2 backs with over 100 yards.
Well, let's just say I'll be shocked if the Bills have a 100-yard rusher. I'd say it's more likely that Josh Allen rushes for 100 yards than Devin Singletary with the way that they've been running their offense. But I kind of think it's also false, Hawk, because I could see a couple of running backs having big impacts but not giving over 100 yards, like Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones for the Bucs, like Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams and or A.J. Dillon if he's healthy for the Packers. Again,
they're going for that. They're going for the C note, man. They're going for the C note. You know that.
That's fine. All right. Let's move it on here, TD. I'm going to come right back at you with this one. True or false, the Bills' offense will expose the Chiefs' defense?
I'm going false there because what are they exposing? I mean, the Chiefs defense is pretty good, and what they're really good at is playing complementary football, knowing exactly when to make a play for their offense. You know, they're not a defense that's going to shut you out. You know, they're going to keep you to less points than their offense scores because they have one of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game. So I'm not sure where the Bills could exploit this defense. So I'm going false there.
Set him straight.
Hey, how about anywhere, TD? They can exploit this defense. Look, I get it. They play good football. Honey Badger is one of my favorite players in the National Football League. But this Bills offense, man, they're legit. And people, they're not sneaking up on people anymore. They have been playing great, lights out. These receivers are hard to guard and man-to-man, TD. Trust me, they are going to expose them. The Browns, if they didn't have some self-inflicted wounds, they were exposing this defense.
That's where I'm going. You said the Browns were going to expose this defense last week because they had the two best running backs, the best running back tandem in all of football. And what happened? It did not happen. Did not happen. So, and they've got receivers, good quarterback. If it didn't happen with the Browns, it's not going to happen with the Bills because they're not as balanced as the Browns.
Well, let me try to settle this.
Well, I can say as a Browns fan, this Bills offense is a better offense than the Cleveland Browns offense. They have been this season. Josh Allen, again, he's number 2 in the MVP voting in my book. So if the Browns did what they did last week, which was pretty good, they had some self-inflicted wounds, imagine what the Bills can do this week. That's all I'm saying, TD.
All right, so I'm going to try to settle this, and I'm not going to give you a true or false. I'm just going to say that the Bills they better expose the Chiefs defense if they want to win, because that is one of the tenets of the beating the Chiefs blueprint, right? It's to score at least 30 points, right? In the 9 career losses, just 9 career losses for Patrick Mahomes, the opposing team has scored 30 points in 7 of those 9 losses. It's not automatic, I get it, but it's a step in the right direction. You know what I mean? See, look, I finally got everybody to agree here. All right, let's move on. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate that. Some headlines to get to here, starting with the Jets introducing their new head coach, Robert Saleh, today, known as the curator of one of the best defenses in football during his 4 years as the 49ers defensive coordinator. But much of the conversation today about his new offense and whether Sam Darnold is the quarterback to lead it.
Just from a preparation standpoint and having the game plan against them, you definitely saw a young man with a tremendous amount of arm talent. He's a natural thrower. He's fearless in the pocket. He obviously has the mental capacity to make and to process and make good decisions. He's got tremendous mobility to get in and out of the pocket and make throws on the run. And so there you can clearly see why he was the 3rd overall pick and why he's such a talented young man.
Do not mess with Detroit. Do not mess with Dan Campbell. Essentially the message Campbell delivered today as he was introduced as the Lions' new head coach. Also, guard your kneecaps like your life depends on it.
This team is going to take on the identity of this city, all right? And this city's been down, and it found a way to get up, all right? It's found a way to overcome adversity, all right? And so this team's going to be built on we're going to kick you in the teeth, all right? And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right, and on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing. All right, that's going to be the mentality.
That was the most matter-of-fact assault on kneecaps that I have ever heard. Watch out for the Dan Campbell-led Detroit Lions. Another head coaching news here today. Brandon Staley introduced as the Chargers' new head coach, a move that we've talked about for the last couple of days. And the Philadelphia Eagles are expected to hire Colts offensive coordinator Nick Sirianni as their new head coach, with his #1 responsibility being fixing Carson Wentz. And now, in a rare moment of player and front office meeting in harmony, Terrell Davis and Scott Pioli agree that the Bills can beat the Chiefs. I'll need a head nod. Is that right for confirmation? Guys, we do agree they can beat the Chiefs? Okay, mostly. But the real question isn't can the Bills win. It is how they can win. And that they may not agree on. Next on TA.
Championship Sunday started at 9 a.m. Eastern with a special 6-hour edition of NFL Game Day Morning. For the first time ever, it'll be Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers in the postseason. Ahead of this epic battle of the 12s, Mooch catches up with Bucs head coach Bruce Arians. And in the AFC, the top 2 seeds remain. I sat down with Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce to discuss the big game against the Bills.
We know that that's a very good team over there. We know they're going to have an answer for how we attack them the first game.
And I also spent some time with Josh Allen this week to find out what a trip to the Super Bowl would mean to Buffalo. Plus, special appearances by Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Dick Vitale, Super Bowl champion Aqib Talib, and a literal lone wolf, as in Blitzer. All that and much more on NFL Game Day morning, Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
And until we get to Sunday, we'll continue getting you ready for the championship games here on Total Access. Back with the Hall of Famer Terrell Davis, our former NFL Executive of the Year, Scott Pioli. And like we did with the NFC Championship game, now time to give you the keys to victory for the AFC Championship game. So, Scott, lay out the points for us for the Bills to beat the Chiefs. What do you got?
Man, this is going to be a tough order for the Bills. But in order for them to have a chance to win, they are going to have a big game from Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. And the other thing they're going to have to do is make sure that they make Patrick Mahomes uncomfortable in the pocket with his bad foot. Going back to Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, they need to be lights out. They need to make big plays. Right now, KC's kryptonite the last 2 seasons has been when offenses come and make big plays. Again, the last 2 years, they have let up big plays that have led to losses. That's been the only problem that they've had. This weekend, the injury and the unknown about where Brashawn Breeland is and Fenton may be a problem. And again, now in terms of Patrick Mahomes being uncomfortable, again, let's remember, before he had the concussion or the alleged concussion in the game, he was having a problem with his big toe. Normally, it's a bad idea to get Patrick Mahomes on the move, but I think this weekend, if he's there, the thing to do is to get him on the move.
Scott, I agree with your first point about, Josh Allen having to make those big plays, because remember, the real loss the Chiefs had was against the Las Vegas Raiders. In that game, the Raiders put up 40 points. They had huge chunk plays in there with Ruggs and Nelson Aguilar. They were able to go point for point. So at that point, I agree with. As far as the second point in Patrick Mahomes, I agree with that as well, because you've got to be able to try to get him off his game. But, we all say that. But how effective do they actually do it? It doesn't happen often. So I would add a point to that. I would add the defense of the Bills have to create some opportunities when there's a tip pass, where there's a strip, fumble, something to try to give their offense the ball on a short field. We saw last week when Johnson had the pick for a 108-yard return for a touchdown, something like that. That's what they have to do on defense as well.
Yeah, and, I think to the point of pressuring Patrick Mahomes, it's really especially interesting in this matchup because you go back to Week 6, the Bills did not blitz Patrick Mahomes once, according to Next Gen Stats. Not a single time. Clearly, they didn't want to take guys away from covering those talented receivers. All right, let's flip the script now and talk about, Scott Pioli, your game plan for the Chiefs to beat the Bills. Again.
Yeah, I don't think it takes a whole lot. I think, first of all, they have to show up with a healthy Patrick Mahomes. And I think the other thing they have to do is try to mitigate Stephon Diggs. Again, when I talk about Patrick Mahomes and him showing up healthy, we know about the injury that he had. We know about his toe. If he just shows up as a healthy version or a close to healthy version, he should be fine. And then again, the second thing they need to do is find a way to slow down Stephon Diggs. The Bills don't have a rushing attack, so they have to rely on the arm of Josh Allen and the receiving skills of Stephon Diggs. The Bills have been the second best offense the entire season, and the Chiefs were the 16th best defense. But again, I think if they can isolate on Stephon Diggs, it may be a long day for the Bills offense.
Yeah, Scott, I know this is boring because we keep saying the same things with the Chiefs, but yes, you are correct. Mahomes is the key. Unfortunately, that guy is a $500 million quarterback for a reason. And so when he's playing, his impact on a game is tremendous. So that key I agree with. And secondly, you're talking about, Stephon Diggs. Yes, you've got to contain him. He cannot have a huge day, because if he's having a big day, they mean Josh Allen is having a big day. But I would add something to this as well. The Chiefs have to just continue to do what they've been doing. They've been very aggressive in play calling, whether it's fourth down plays, whether it's trick plays, whether it's doing all those things we see them doing. They have to continue to do those things as well in this game.
Also be curious, to the Diggs point, the status and the health of Bashaud Breeland, starting cornerback for the Chiefs, has been on the injury report this week, back-to-back days, limited participation. If he's not at 100%, perhaps Diggs could have a bigger day. Guys, thanks very much. Keys to victory there in the AFC Championship game. Still to come here. For an NFL DB, a pass-catching core like the one in Tampa is a challenge you dream about. The trick, of course, is keeping that dream from becoming a nightmare. As for how that's done, we'll ask Packers safety Adrian Amos, our special guest, after the break. Packers putting in that championship week work, as you see here. Important work for that Packers secondary in Adrian Amos there, trying to slow down the most prolific quarterback in NFL postseason history, and Tom Brady and the Bucs. Our pleasure now to welcome in Packers safety Adrian Amos, getting ready for Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucs in the NFC Championship game. Adrian, glad to have you with us, man. Thanks for being here. Look, I thought it was interesting. Your quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, has said recently he's having a blast playing this year, playing with you guys. Does his feeling, his attitude kind of represent the general feeling of your locker room right now?
Oh, for sure. Since, day one here, it's just been a lot of fun. It's a lot of carryover with the roster, and a lot of people, just generally enjoy being with each other. And Matt sets the tone in meetings where we have little competitions and things like that. And, people just generally like being around each other and having fun playing football.
Well, look, I know week 6 wasn't the most fun game you guys played this year. You've heard a lot about it, I'm sure, this week. Why will this matchup against the Bucs be different than that one?
Man, it's a new day. It's a new game. We have to go out there and we have to execute. We can't put ourselves in a hole like we did before. We have to go out there and, we have to win the turnover battle, which we didn't do last time. We have to play well on defense, play sound on defense, and, we have to get, some takeaways ourselves.
Adrian, do you have any idea how many conference championship games Tom Brady's played in?
Well, he got 6 rings, so he got, he has to have more than that.
6. This will be his 14th conference championship games. I know you played them now in back-to-back years, but is it hard to overlook like his accomplishments, his experience when you're preparing to play him?
Oh yeah, I don't think too much about it. We have the game plan for their team. What did their team like to do? What makes him uncomfortable? And that's how we have to take it, each and every week. We got to take this like just like we did last week and the week before. We have to come in, we have to execute, we have to, make it cloudy for him. Don't make it easy for him. We know he's great, but we can't, just give it to him.
Well, one of the big pieces of the game plan for the Bucs every week is getting your old college teammate Chris Godwin involved. A couple of Penn Staters going at it in this game. Is he the most difficult wide receiver among a talented group that they have out there to prepare for?
They have a lot of weapons out there, but they move him around. He plays in the slot and outside as well, and he's a good blocker as well. So there's a little deception in that, whereas he can line up tight and get some blocking in. So he's been a great player for him, and that's somebody that we have to look out for, along with a lot of their other weapons they have.
Yeah, no question. The list goes on and on. And a lot of times when we talk about this game, the quarterbacks get the headlines, right? It's Brady versus Rodgers, but clearly they don't match up against each other. You're going to be matching up against Tom Brady and his wide receivers in that offense, along with one of the more exciting young secondaries in football right now, with yourself and Darnell Savage and Jair Alexander, Kevin King. How would you describe your group, your secondary group right now?
We're going to compete. We're going out there. We're going to go out there. We're going to compete. It all comes down to, being assignment driven. We got to do our job and then, make our plays. It all goes through us. We have to limit those big plays. That's the quickest way to lose is giving up those big chunk plays. So that's something that's on our mind this game. That a lot of things going to be on us, and we have to go out there and execute.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing it. A tough challenge ahead against this Tampa Bay offense, but I know one you guys will be up for. Adrian, thanks so much for spending some time with us. Best of luck on Sunday.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And some sad news to report coming out of Green Bay today. Former general manager Ted Thompson died Wednesday at the age of 68. Thompson helped build the Packers into a Super Bowl champion. And many players, past and present, taking to social media to share their condolences, including Aaron Rodgers, who said thank you to Cowboy Ted. Of course, one of the most notable players that Thompson drafted during his time as the GM from 2005 to 2017. Outside of the first round, players like Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, and David Bakhtiari all rising to among the best players at their position group. Still to come here on NFL Total Access. We're not done yet until we reveal the 4 players who will define Championship Sunday. Incredibly, not one of them is a quarterback. That's next. 6, the Bucks and Chiefs got the wins then. To help us determine who will get the wins on Sunday, let's find the players that will define Championship Sunday. And let's start with you, Andrew Hawkins. Who is it?
It's got to be Travis Kelce. I talked about him earlier in the show. This is tight end 1 in the league, and to be honest, it's time for a conversation to say he has been for quite a while. I think he is the X factor this week. You can't beat him in man-to-man. You can't stop him in zone. The guy is putting up records, and he's about to break the total season yardage record for tight end. So he's definitely X factor for me.
Oh, my guy this weekend has got to be Devin White of the Buccaneers. He was dominant last week against the New Orleans Saints, and when he's in the game, he is a complete difference maker. He had 140 tackles this year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and when he's in the game, he just simply changes the game for his other teammates, and he does a great job of freeing up Levante David and all the other playmakers. So again, to me, this week it's going to be Devin White.
Good guys. I like those two. But I'm going with my man Chris Jones here. I just think in this game that Chris Jones will come through in the clutch. Will be something where Josh Allen is scrambling down, trying to make the game-winning score, and Chris Jones comes and gets a sack fumble.